Imagine this. The year is 1941. The world is ablaze in the flames of World War II, and one man's decisions are plunging millions into darkness, fear, and devastation. Adolf Hitler stands as the architect of one of the deadliest conflicts in human history. But now picture this twist of fate. Out of nowhere, something appears in the skies above Berlin. It's not a Luftwaffe aircraft, nor an Allied bomber squadron, but a sleek, silent, precision-engineered drone from the 21st century. The kind used in modern warfare, capable of surveillance, tracking, and surgical strikes with accuracy beyond anything the world of the 1940s could imagine. So here's the burning question. What would have happened if just one modern drone had been deployed against Hitler at the height of his power? Would the war have ended years earlier? Would millions of lives have been saved? Or, as history often warns us, would the removal of one tyrant simply give rise to chaos and another in his place? That's the journey we are about to take together. Buckle in, because this is not just a history lesson, it's a blend of heart-stopping military imagination, the sobering reality of cause and effect, and the unshakable truth that history is always more fragile than it seems. To truly appreciate the magnitude of this idea, let's first ground ourselves in what the world looked like back then. Hitler's Germany was a fortress of propaganda, paranoia, and power. His personal protection was legendary. Layers of SS guards, constant relocation, secret bunkers, and near-mythical control over information. Even high-ranking officers rarely got close without suspicion. So let's ask, could a modern drone, silent, unmanned, controlled from miles away, have slipped past all those barriers and changed history in a single strike? Think about it. In a time when radar was primitive and anti-aircraft guns struggled even against high-altitude bombers, how could they possibly stop a drone the size of a bird, flying at night, carrying technology they wouldn't even comprehend? It's almost unfair, like pitting a medieval knight against a stealth fighter jet. But here's the catch. History is rarely so simple. If Hitler had been eliminated in 1941, who would have replaced him? Could the Nazi war machine have adapted and fought on, perhaps even more ruthlessly without their unpredictable leader? Or could this moment have been the decisive crack that collapsed the entire Nazi empire? Now, before we dive deeper into the what if, let's pause for a second. Have you ever thought about how fragile history really is? One choice, 1 second, one technological leap, and the entire story of the world could flip upside down. It's the kind of thought that makes you stare at the ceiling at 2 a.m., isn't it? Or maybe that's just me. But let's be honest, what makes this question so thrilling is not just the fantasy of justice against history's most infamous villain, but the ripple effect it could have unleashed across generations. Imagine the families never torn apart, the cities never bombed into rubble, the futures never erased. Imagine a world where the Holocaust never reached its full horror, where millions of soldiers never marched to their deaths. Sounds inspiring, doesn't it? But here's the uncomfortable twist. Even the best of intentions can backfire. A single drone strike might have ended a dictator, but could it have triggered chaos that made things even worse? That's the razor edge of history we're about to walk. And here's where I'll leave you with a cliffhanger. What happens when futuristic technology collides with the brutal politics of the 1940s? Could the Allies have even handled such power if they had it in their hands? Or would they too have been tempted to reshape the war and the world in ways that we might not celebrate today? Stay with me, because in the next part, we'll dive deeper into the chilling possibilities, the heart-stopping scenarios, and the haunting lessons about power, technology, and human ambition that still matter to our lives today.
And so, as we close this thought experiment, we're left with a haunting realization. History is never as straightforward as we wish it to be. Yes, a single modern drone could have ended Hitler's reign in seconds, potentially sparing millions from suffering. But it could also have unleashed an unpredictable chain reaction, shifting power into hands just as ruthless, or even destabilizing the world in ways we cannot fully grasp. That is the terrifying and humbling truth of power. Removing one villain does not always end the story. because history is not written by single individuals alone. It is shaped by systems, by societies, and by the choices of countless people. Still, this scenario forces us to imagine what it means when technology leaps centuries ahead of morality. It asks us, if we had that power today, in our own time, against leaders who threaten peace, what would we do? Would we use it wisely, or would we repeat the same mistakes of history, only faster? These are not just questions about the past, they are warnings for the present. And here's where I'll leave you. The idea that one machine, one decision, one strike could rewrite the fate of the world is both inspiring and terrifying. If you want to keep exploring how a single turning point in history could reshape our entire future, make sure you check out my next video, where we dive into another mind-bending scenario that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about war, power, and destiny. Until then, stay curious, stay aware, and never forget how fragile history really is.